5 years ago, the husband and wife duo of former Army officer Major Evon Lloyd and business executive Jacqueline Lloyd started a business venture called Make Your Mark Consultants. It essentially targeted human resources, recruitment, and logistics. As managers in their own right, they recognized the importance of the middle manager, that important link between the top and the shop floor level team members. In 2009, they set about holding what they describe as a middle managers conference, which essentially began as an exchange of ideas and best practices in management. Today, the Middle Managers Conference is a staple on the business calendar, and the 2014 conference, which was launched on March 31, is scheduled to take place on April 29 and 30 under the theme Middle Managers, the Heart and Hub of Enterprise. Speaking at the launch of the 2014 conference, Managing Director of Make Your Mark Consultants, Jacqueline Lloyd, posited that middle managers can determine the success or failure of businesses. They are the ones who actually execute the ideas.
It's a group that will determine whether we fail or we survive as businesses. It's designed to address the needs of the enterprise and the middle manager and his role in adding value to the organization. The studies have shown that this group, it's so significant to an organization that you have to pay attention to this group in a really meaningful way. It's a captive audience, not only for those of us who are in business, but those of us who have to make decisions. They're expected to balance the shareholder, management, and employee interest, and of course the customer interest, because it's a very, very pivotal role. If you're in the middle, you're looking at the employees who report to you, you're looking at those above you, those on the side, your shareholders, your customers, so you're really in the middle trying to manage it all. People ask, why do you attend, or why should they attend? It's for the public sector, it's private sector employees, and we have found that both groups have found it very rich over the years, because quite often the public sector sees themselves, and Richard will probably go into this a little further in his presentation, but the public sector quite often don't see themselves as adding enough value, and they don't think that they should understand the private sector, but that has been changing over the years, and they've been attending conferences like this so they can understand the needs of the private sector and how it is that how we can merge. This group of managers, they're entrepreneurs and intrapreneurs, and they ought to be, because they ought to understand how business runs, why it runs, and how it is that they can make the right decisions. We do have a satisfaction rating of 96%, and we have maintained that, certainly for the last 3 years, and we're very, very happy about that. It's a practical conference. The takeaways are different. We try to get presenters who are not lecturers, but those who have been there, done that, and they can immediately share their experiences.
Guest speaker Richard Biles, the president of Sagicor Group Jamaica, and a man who also wears the hat of co-chairman of the Economic Policy Oversight Committee, or EPOC, noted the important changes taking place in the public sector, including new tax rules and the thorny issue of waivers. So what has been the most impactful change Mr. Biles has seen so far?
Perhaps the one that I find to be the most powerful is this of the fiscal rule. And it has many aspects to it, but I want to boil it down to one really very important one. This rule says that every single budget, including this one to be laid on Thursday, has to be in line with a pathway that takes us from where we are, which is about 140% debt to GDP, to 60% debt to GDP by 2026. So the next 13 budgets all have to follow that pathway. It's a law. and no Minister of Finance can break it. No Parliament can break it unless we have some act of God, some catastrophe. And even then, what happens is that to the extent we deviate, that deviation is put in like an account. And the following year, you have to make up for it. So what the fiscal rule has done is given all Jamaicans, all businessmen, all investors the comfort to know that going forward, the government, whichever party it is, has to be responsible in how they manage the fiscal affairs of the country. The omnibus banking bill, been laid in Parliament, not passed as yet, to be debated in the next 30 or 60 days. Big bill, and essentially what it does is give the Bank of Jamaica a whole lot more transparency into all financial institutions, not just banks. Allows them to see in and have power over all deposit-taking institutions. So security dealers, building societies, all of those now have a lot more focus from the Bank of Jamaica.
As director of Make Your Mark Consultants, Major Evon Lloyd emphasized, the changing times demand changes at every level in our society, including the household.
I would like to suggest that we need to reorganize the way we do things, and that the things that we do, we need to revisit or order priority. We are at a time when every member of our society is required to dig deep, be resolute in staying the course defined, and stand up and be counted as one who is willing to play his or her part. It ought to be our collective goal for our economy to return to a sustained growth path, becoming strong and sustainable, and further, that Jamaica will become the place of choice for capital investment, the place of choice to live in peace, love, and harmony, the place of choice to raise our children and grandchildren, the place of choice where prosperity for all is not merely a pipe dream, but a reality.
And of course, such a reality demands innovative leadership at all levels. That's the Achievers for this week. I'm Owen James.